This is Begin Transmission. It's an original interview series. It's produced by the LITA Blog. Each episode features a lively conversation and the opportunity to learn something new. I'm your host, Lindsay Kronk. Behind me is my co-host, David Bowie. And today we are joined by my fellow LITA Blog editor and digital curation coordinator at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Brianna Marshall. Brianna, you're basically the queen of all library blogs. How did you get into that? How did that happen?
Library blogs. Wow, being called the queen of something. That's pretty great. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome. It's your new unofficial title.
So it's really funny because when I was an undergraduate and I decided to go to library school, my mentor at the time said, you should start a blog. And she had a blog, and so I looked at her blog, and I started my blog, and it was called Not So Stern Librarian, which is where my Twitter handle.
Yeah, Twitter handle.
So I've actually been writing in the same space, and it's changed the looks over the years quite a few times, but I eventually bought my domain name, so now I'm writing at briannamarshall.com very sort of infrequently. I have so many drafts actually right now and things that I want to write about that I should actually just pull the trigger on, but I haven't. So yeah, and I became involved with Hack Library School when I was a graduate student, which was really a great experience. I was in a program where I was spending 3 years getting my Master of Library Science and Master of Information Science from Indiana University. So I started writing for Hack Library School when I was a semester in. And
wow.
Then I think it was only like 6 months later or so that I actually became an editor for Hack Library School. So it was a really cool experience, and I helped us pull together an ebook, which was really fun, and it was awesome. And then I was really sad to leave, of course, when I graduated because it was such a great group of people. And then the opportunity to work with LITA Blog came up. So now I'm working with LITA Blog. So it's really been fun to be able to work with different community blogs and then also to write in my own space too.
Definitely. I actually noticed a few months ago that you were blogging as well for, was it Project Life, a scrapbooking blog? So you voyaged outside of even library land in blogging. Have you found that to be beneficial to your career and your trajectory? How has it maybe enhanced the process, maybe?
You know, I just am becoming much more focused on prioritizing things that I care about. Yeah. So not only things in library land, but also things, you know, that I have as hobbies and things that I care about. So I'm always walking sort of the tightrope of deciding what new things do you venture into versus, you know, how do you protect your time, right? That's like this big challenge that I've been thinking through a lot this year. But I really care about documenting my life, and I'm a scrapbooker and I'm the family archivist. And actually, you know, with the digital stuff, it actually does overlap with my work in libraries. So it's this really weird intersection that I'm definitely diving into and allowing myself to give time to that.
No, I find it always interesting when it's people that are very passionate about sort of archiving these aspects of their personal experiences and then wind up in libraries. And more I'm encountering that. And from my perspective, it's so beneficial just because, you know, a lot of what we do in libraries, I don't think the process gets documented enough. You know, we are really good at what we're going to put out there, but at documenting our own processes, something where I see a greater need, and it's definitely a place where I see people like you or Melody Condren, who recently hosted a LITA education series on digital curation, sort of stepping in and helping fill that gap, where I think there's a piece of knowledge maybe that wasn't necessarily taught in library school or self-learned in the process that you can really bring into play. So I think that's very interesting. Is there a technology tool or app that you're really passionate about for that process?
Well, I would say what I utilize most often for just like project management, task management, that would be Trello.
Yeah, I love Trello.
Trello. I still, you know, I don't even feel like I utilize it to its full potential because I'm always learning new ways, and I'm actually always changing my own process of using Trello, which I think actually says something really good about the tool, that you can sort of, it's so flexible that you can change your process up. So I actually feel like I'm at the point of using Trello. I've probably been using it for like a year, so I'm probably at the point of like, it would be really good for me to re-watch some of like the ways to like boost your usage of Trello and whatnot, but I really love it. I mean, I live and die by combination of my calendar, my Trello board, and then keeping in touch with folks usually over Twitter.
Yes.
But I'm definitely a fan of like the inbox zero approach. And so I transfer everything into task format so that I can be, I'm also like very much a long-term thinker. So I'm happiest when I'm planning out like the next 3 years. So I love with something like Trello, like I can have these tiny tasks and outline what I need to do with next steps. And then I can also be looking at, you know, where I want to be in 2 years. And
I agree. It almost functions as a rubric for yourself in terms of professional development. Sometimes you can table it out, figure out the incremental tasks. It all appears manageable. You can look then at the full to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a skill that you'd recommend that people straight out of library school sort of cultivate? You've talked a little bit about organization, curation, anything in that vein or outside of it?
You know, I think staying organized is always a really good skill because it's so hard. There's a reason that we struggle in our busy lives because we're generating more digital stuff than ever. So figuring out workflows that, you know, work for you to stay organized and to keep on top of projects is super important. And it's certainly not something I'm an expert at, but it's something that's really important to me. So I try to really come up with good ways, and I adapt my own workflows constantly in that area. I think though, like the main thing that's important for students or emerging professionals is just to get comfortable with public speaking. It's a really scary, petrifying thing for most people. It totally was for me, and I still get butterflies when I have to give talks generally, but it's no longer like a gripping, crushing fear. And I think the earlier you can be presenting to different people and different audiences and just learning, you know, what your style is and what, you know, makes what you enjoy about it, because I think most people will find that they do enjoy something about it. The earlier you can do that when it's like low stakes, the better. I know that I'm so glad that I pushed myself to start teaching when I was in graduate school. And I mean, I have so many funny stories of just flat out failing at teaching or like embarrassing myself in a presentation. And I'm sure I will have many more to come as well. But, you know, as I said, like just diving in and starting to get comfortable, because as a librarian, as a technologist, whatever role you find yourself in, you're going to be able to maximize the work that you do if you're comfortable presenting to students, your peers, people at your institution, whoever it might be.
Where can people learn more about what you're working on? Are there any projects you're really excited about that you want to share with us today?
Projects. I do have some things in the pipeline, but none of them are like official yet. So I'll be very mysterious about that projects portion.
You're very mysterious right now.
Very
it's a big teaser in the middle of this episode of Begin Transmission.
I don't know.
I'm sure everyone's on edge.
To other people as it is to me, but anyway. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I blog at briannamarshall.com, and that's where I post different presentations that I am either, you know, about to give, or I link out to presentations I have given in the past. I share out a lot of my slide decks because I really want people to be able to utilize them and reuse them and not have to reinvent the wheel. So if they're at all useful to people, I just want them to be out in the world. I also tweet a fair amount. That's definitely my preferred method of engaging with this community. And it's really funny because like I had no clue really how to use Twitter when I first used it, and I didn't get it. And I thought it was really awkward, but now I'm at the point where it's so awesome because I can keep in touch with a lot of people and learn quickly what's going on. And so I can be found on Twitter as well.
And I think too, if you're any sort of a person that experiences social anxiety, getting engaged in the community online where you have like a layer, the ability to type through think through your thoughts before you sort of have to speak them aloud. Before we move on, I guess my last question to you will be, are there any new technologies, applications that you're excited about right now that you'd like to talk about with our audience?
Sure. There's a platform that I'm really interested in right now, and I don't know how much it'll like vibe with the library community, but I just joined Skillshare.
Nice.
It's It's a platform where different creatives will share videos, and they also give people like the opportunity to make their own videos and then to teach. It is a paid program. It's so good. It's so good for somebody who, I really need that injection of creativity for my work, and I try to pull a lot of those creative elements for the work that I'm doing myself. It's been so cool because they have these videos, ranging from like 20 minutes to an hour or longer, from super sharp people, like the smartest people, the most creative people, about photography and design and even like business strategy stuff. And so a lot of things that, really intersect with the work that I do professionally and also my personal interests. So I'm like so into Skillshare, and I've just been watching all sorts of Skillshare videos. And, as somebody who, I'm trying to build a service. I'm trying to build digital scholarship services at my institution. So I'm always thinking about how I can do outreach. I'm thinking about how I can teach on these topics. So as somebody who's sort of marinating in a lot of these ideas, being able to see the way that people are presenting ideas, I think it's helping me a lot. And thinking about how I can teach these topics, and also the possibility of video as a medium.
Agreed. Well. Something I'm excited about. Well, Brianna, it's been so awesome talking with you today. I know that we'll have other opportunities to bring you back if you're interested, and we'd love to have you back. In the meantime, I'd like to say adieu to our audience. Thank you again for joining us, and this is the end of transmission.